And please bear with us for a moment while we begin our live stream. One moment. There we go. Oh, Lord. Right. Our LinkedIn live stream has begun. We're also on YouTube Live, and welcome to our career webinar, recruitment trends that are shaping professional hiring in 2021, presented with Sarbojit Mallick, the co-founder and CBO of Organization for Instahyre. And we're glad to have him back. Just a note about the WebEx controls. Questions for Sarbojit should be put into the Q&A box. If you put them in the Q&A box, we'll be able to log them and ask him the questions in the Q&A portion of the presentation at the end. You can put information into the chat box. Make sure you address it to all panelists. Otherwise, we will not necessarily see it. And we're also going to be doing a few polls today. So the first one, very simple, 2 questions. How much experience do you have? You should see, if you're on WebEx, you should see a polling widget. The second question is something we've been asking people during the pandemic, how you're adjusting to this ongoing situation, how you're feeling today. And we'll keep the poll open for about another 15 seconds. If you're watching live streaming, feel free to put answers in the comments. All right. And here are our poll results. We have an experienced audience today. Although we have people across all experience levels, the largest contingent are people from the greater than 10 years. And fortunately, over 90% of you said that you're feeling at least in the middle, if not well today. And for the rest of you, we hope that this presentation will give you information that'll help improve your outlook. So with that, I am going to introduce Sarbojit.
Hey, hi guys.
He's responsible for anything required to make customers happy as the chief business officer of organization over at Instahire. He's a previous company founder. He founded Triphippie, which is a adventure travel service, and He is, I don't know, engineering alumnus of NIT Durgapur and an MBA from NITIE. I'm sorry. So I'm going to let him introduce Instahire and welcome Sarbojit.
Good afternoon, guys. Good morning to all those who are in other part of the world. Uh, this is my second webinar. Thank you, Simplilearn, and thank you, Stuart, for calling me. So this webinar, we will be discussing on the future trends, which is 2021 and 2022, and the future what holds. So before we do that, so I am the co-founder of Instahire, and what we do is very simple. We help companies to get great talent like you guys, but 10x more accurately and 10x in less time, so that everyone has a win-win situation. Okay, what do you mean by accurately is basically you will not receive spam emails or like calls which will be annoying. You will receive job offers or interview calls which are relevant to you. So that is what we mean in a nutshell, what we mean by accuracy or relevancy. Okay. So we have seen that there are a lot of changes, technological changes happening throughout. But in this recruitment side, we have seen that not much has changed. And we use the age-old techniques which are there, like Boolean and database search and everything. We thought, me and Aditya, to change everything and flip the model. So we built the technology which helps companies to mimic a human recruiter, understand the candidate better, and then to start talking or communicating with the candidate so that the conversion of a candidate is very, very fast. Okay, so we have made different models to it. This is a basic outline of how we operate. We have our own proprietary algorithm, which is Instamatch, which considers everything. So I will go through what do I mean by everything. Okay, so everything will mean like what your interests are, where are you currently working, okay, how is your career progression going on, then what are the things you like or dislike, or what type of companies do you want to like be in, what is your dream job. So we understand all these data points, and then we send you the best jobs which are there in the market. Basically, what we're trying to do is make the world a better place by giving jobs to mostly all the candidates, so that these candidates can get the best of both the worlds. So they spend less time, get more job offers, and similarly, they have better time to prepare. Okay, so traditional problems which are existent in the candidates are like basically there are a high number of calls for basically irrelevant jobs which are not your cup of tea. Okay, but you simply get these calls, or you get emails which are like actually which is not even relevant to your profile, and or you do not get any interview calls. So these are the three problems which we have seen in the candidate, and we have solved it. So what makes us stand like as one of the pioneers of this, and we have very, very large companies using our product. Okay, so mostly all the tech companies which you like operate in which you know of, and these are all our clients. And we do this things like instant talent pipeline. We have very high intent candidates. Engagement ratio is much higher. So yeah, do try out and let me know your feedback on this. So yeah, Stuart, like you can go to the next slide. Yeah. So this is our capabilities, which powers like 10,000 plus enterprises which we work with, and so this is what Instahire stands for. And in the next slide, we will see the companies which we work with, which are like one of the largest companies in the world, which are using our product. Okay. So if you see Amazon, Walmart, Oracle, PayPal, VMware, JPMC, so all the large companies in the world use our product for their hiring, and we have been able to change a lot of the careers, and we have been able to bring smiles in the faces of a lot of candidates as we go along. So this has been an exciting journey, and today I will share you the insights of what is the next 5 years look or next 3 years look in the recruitment trends, what is shaping up?
So that concludes the introductory slides. So let's start the conversation. I'm going to run the first poll just to get an impression from the audience. And here to queue it up. Doing that, I'm going to see if I can fix the live stream. And here are the poll results.
Yeah, so it is quite distributed, I guess. Too many calls for relevant from the 17%, of no interview calls 38%, no follow-up response 27%, too many scams. So you see that these are majorly the problems. The no interview calls is being the larger of the four. So a very interesting study which we did at Instahire as we start up the recruitment trends, we see that why there are no interview calls. See, if you understand clearly, there are a lot of jobs, and yes, there are a lot of candidates. But why aren't these candidates getting this right set of jobs or these jobs per se? This is because there is a huge gap in communication. Now, if I give you like say 10,000 candidates to operate from, and I tell you that okay, hire me for 5 candidates, you will start emailing all of them, but you do not know which candidate is actually looking out for a job or is actually the guys who are relevant for your job postings, right? So this is the problem. Then you end up with 10,000 emails in your inbox and you do not process any. And what happens is these guys, they do not get the interview call. So this is the larger problem which we have seen, right? So no follow-up responses, basically saying the recruiters are inundated with thousands of emails, follow-up emails, all this kind of emails. But they are not reaching out to the right set of candidates. That is not the fault of either parties. That is the fault of the communication channel, which is non-existent, which was non-existent. And in India also, we operate out of India. So in India also, we have seen this problem coming in. Like we will get thousands of calls or maybe no calls at all. And either way, this is not helpful for the candidate. So yes. So yeah, I think we're in.
I'm sorry. Sorry. How are you addressing those problems from Instahire? What differentiates the platform so that people experience fewer of these frustrations?
So supposedly, if you are a human recruiter and you have to operate on a database set, suppose I will tell you to hire a software engineer, and you will find you work for a company, suppose say Amazon, and you want to have people from e-commerce companies to work for you for a software engineer. Example, okay, most of the companies are skill agnostic, so that is not a problem. But still, suppose you want to have people from Flipkart or Myntra or any other kind of company which are in e-commerce, operating in e-commerce. So this is a very clear mandate. So you want people who have been working in product companies, and better will be people who are from e-commerce or similar kind of internet company background. But if I give you a 10,000 resume pool and tell you go hire from that, what you will do, you cannot find out this kind of candidates. First of all, you have to go through each and every resume that people won't do, and people will just start mass emailing them. Secondly, what you will also do is basically your emails will be not be personalized. It will be basically a same email which you will copy paste, or you will send a mass email to all. In both of these cases, the candidate sees you, okay, so I have received this email, but this email is kind of looking like a spam email. Okay.
Right.
Or I have received this email which is absolutely not relevant to me. I have done Java in 5 years back. Now I am a web developer. Okay. So it's not like it's not relevant, right? So you might have got through some keyword search and sent an email, but they will not reply back, or if they reply back, you might not answer because you will get thousands of replies. That is the most important. So the communication channel is completely broken. You do not know. So candidates before us was only a kind of a database, entry in the database, name, phone number, email ID, resume. That's it. The candidate has different sets of it. Like the candidate is a human being, right? They will have preferences. They want to work in internet companies. We want to work in certain type of enterprises or startup or very high growth mid-level companies. Okay, they might be a very good coder, but they are very actively putting effort to learn something, and they want to do a job in that space because it's the new upcoming space maybe, or they have grown a new interest there. Okay, supposedly they might not be from the best Ivy League colleges. They might be from tier 2, tier 3 colleges, but they are highly skilled. How will you get to know that they are highly skilled? You will not know, because you will
Right.
go to only the skills and the resume, which doesn't speak about anything about you being highly skilled. But if you see their GitHub profile or their achievements or their career growth, you will find out, okay, this guy might be very, very useful for me. Okay. So these are the things which companies generally miss because they use those old traditional tools which are there in India. So they completely miss this kind of very, very relevant data points, which might make or break your company. Okay. What they do is they simply send an email to thousands of people. Then they pray that will come back or they will receive a certain amount of applications. Then they start manually sorting it. Then this like 80% is rejected, 20% they go through. But with this, if you see, you are wasting a lot of time. Okay. A very good candidate we have seen on Instahire and in general also on Instahire we did a poll. Very good candidate will be there in the market for 10 to 12 days maximum. And a very, very good candidate will be there, like say 6 to 7 days in the market. They will be job hunting. Before that, they will be getting thousands of offers. And this from thousands of offers, they might have like 10 to 15 very, very good offers. They might select one of them. Okay, that depends on the profile and skills, whatever. But yes, but if you are wasting like 15 days to sort out candidates and then you communicate with them, most of these guys are gone from your pool, which is non-existent. Like, and the rest of these guys might be in the later stages of their interviews or might then not start a new conversation because they have already reached stage 3 or stage 4. So that way, the recruiter misses out a lot of candidates because of the time to hire, which is a metric which is very, very useful in recruiting, is very, very high. Okay. So now, what the future holds is basically using technology to understand the kind of candidates you are best suited for, the company is best suited for, right? So this is the technology which we have built, and it has been working at scale for us. So that way, we have done a job where we have seen candidates applying, recruiters replying, and everything is going smooth. So this is how we have changed the entire model, flipped it on its own.
We do have a question from the chat. We have two questions that I'd like to just address real quick. One is Instahire limited to India?
So Instahire is not limited to India. Instahire has been operating out of India, and yes, we do not have presence in US. But US companies come to India, or US companies when they hire remote, they use our platform. So yes, we have Indian candidates on Instagram, but
Okay.
foreign companies also, like example, like a lot of them like Uber and Southeast Asia, like Gojek and Buku Warang and all these companies, Buku Cars, which are very, very popular as of now. And then there is in the US like Twilio and thousands of other companies like we see in the slide. They all hire from our candidate pool, and these guys are all operating out of India or in the US, but remotely hired. So this part is there. We do not have US based or outside India based candidates.
All right. And the other question is, you talk about demonstrating skills, things like GitHub for software people.
Uh,
What are some of the skills demonstration tools you can use in other domains? Like how would a
okay.
project manager show off a portfolio? How would a digital marketer show off a portfolio? That type
Yeah.
of thing.
So there are different kind of tools which these guys use. Like a designer will show up the portfolio and enhance of your result. Okay. A project manager can show off the portfolio basically by giving up the like what kind of projects they have executed, and that will be also be recorded. So the beauty of technologies is basically it can operate at scale and it can work like a human if given sufficient data to understand what kind of candidates these are. Okay. Suppose you will be hiring for a project manager and you want for a solar project and you want guys who have worked in energy sector and not in the paint sector or chemical sector. And these guys should work in certain kind of solar projects or basically renewable energy projects. How will you get that? Because you will be seeing like 10,000 candidates or 1 lakh candidates who have worked in suppose the energy sector, but you cannot differentiate they have worked in renewables or this kind of facts. So this is how you get kind of candidates which we sorted by the algorithm which we show you. So this is the candidates which are best suited for your company. Suppose your company, suppose you are hiring for Amazon versus your company is a startup which is a like 30 people startup. Okay, and you are hiring. So these two for the same job, we will show you two separate set of candidates, which these candidates will be relevant for you. Plus, they have work experience in startup. Plus, they are looking for startup jobs. Versus the companies like Amazon or like PayPal or Walmart, they are hiring for people who might have a little bit of experience in the enterprise segment or a little bit of experience in the architecture for building large companies. So that is how we differentiate. So everything is sorted and shown up to the recruiter, and these recruiters reach out. We like tell the recruiters through our products, also through our teams, to reach out to this candidate as soon as possible.
I'm going to run another poll because this will lead us into another subject for discussion.
Mhm.
And want the button to appear. So this poll is for the audience. How do you research the company that you want to work for? And I'll put up the slide just so people can see it from the live link. Hold on a moment. Application. So do you use the website? Do you use their LinkedIn page? Do you use the job description? I know there are other tools as well. And great. I will put up the poll results. So
Companies
most people use the company website.
Mhm.
So what would you advise a job seeker in terms of, number one, how important is it to do that research into the companies that you're applying to? And number two, what are the kinds of tools you would advise them to look at using?
So, fundamentally speaking, this is the most important research which a candidate should do. What is the type of company which they are applying for? So normally the candidate cycle is to apply to most of the jobs, and then when they get a call, they look into the companies. okay, which they have replied back. That is also okay. Yeah. So things like you should look into what is the company like. So first thing is the most important thing is basically who will be your manager, right? How's the work culture? Second is the technology or maybe your work or what is you will be selling or what you will be building, this kind of thing. So there are 3 4 verticals which you look into. The first thing, culture is the most important thing which you look into. To understand the culture, yes, you can use like brand pages of different like job posting websites like say, Instahire has a brand page. You can look into the culture. They will tell you, they will have photographs of their birthday and then what kind of events they do. Even on LinkedIn, they will have on their website. And if you can ask the HR also to see like what kind of events. First thing is the culture. Second thing is basically you should know basically the people who you will be working with or your manager or your subordinates. Okay. Knowing them will help you to understand what is the culture internally in your team. Right. Third thing is the job description. What is the job description? Do not take a job which doesn't really reflect your capabilities. We take that and we are frustrated after 3 months. We leave that. That is basically a lossless situation for both of us because I do the job, I have to find it again. I cannot put it up on LinkedIn. I cannot put it up on my resume. I cannot put it up on other like job sites because people will ask why you leave in 3 months or 2 months. Okay, and
Right.
it also creates a impression that this guy is not stable or this guy is not sticky to a company. That is one major problem which we have seen, and this leads to career gaps. Career gaps are not that important, but in certain companies you might face obstacles. So do not do that. First thing. Second thing is when you understand kind of what is the job description, what exactly does it mean, what will you be doing, what problem are you solving, what is the impact of that problem. You should have clear answers to that, and this will also be asked in your interview. Like what do you think your this job? What do you think our company does? And you have to be very clear, else you will not be selected. Okay. So certain companies are very finicky and very strict on what the brand stands for, and that is known as the power of the employer brand. So you have to understand what the brand stands for.
Mhm.
That is the most important thing because you will be working with this company, with these guys, with your team for say 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, or like 1 or 2 years, whatever. You will be working, you will be spending time with them. So you better understand what the culture is. Is it actually suiting you? Okay. Is the company progressing? Okay. You can see different kind of like if startups, you can see different type of news like how are the founders have they have prior experience, and if we were joining a really small setup of company, you should expect that it will be scrappy. There will not be defined processes because they are just building the company. If
Right.
you are joining a large enterprise, you should be aware that this is uh, an actual brand and there are sub teams and subcategories to that. So you should focus on the subcategory or whatever you are joining, which vertical you are joining, and how is the vertical going to affect you. So if you see this is a learning experience, you will learn throughout. Okay, and then you have to have this learning exposure to you, right? If you do not have the exposure, uh, like there will be issues like we will get kind of you will stray away. Like you will see that there are like 10 job offers. I am getting more exposure in that, and then I see a lot of candidates. So we have done a poll on the kind of candidates when they leave. They say that we want more exposure, we want better opportunities. So if you're working in a company for like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, you should have more exposure, right? So if you're not getting it, that might not be right for you. So you have to first identify that that metric which you have, like where you will be in the next 1 year, 2 year, the roadmaps. Okay, that should be very clear in you. One of the questions is basically I get a lot of people asking me, uh, how can I see that profile being seen by recruiting companies? Okay, that is a very interesting question. How your profile get seen by recruiting companies? See, recruiting companies basically you can divide in two segments. The first is the companies, and the second is the recruiting consulting firms. In either of these cases, right now, it's basically with skill over knowledge. Okay. So if you have skills in a certain department, in a certain segment, and the other guy doesn't have skill, they will always prefer a guy with skills, because if you see this 1.5 year of pandemic, and things, people stuck in their homes and majorly using their mobile phones or their laptop to connect. Okay, what they do is they will have a very high digital adoption. So when you have a very high digital adoption, your profiles should, like, you will have to have a certain type of skill set to attract more people. Okay. So this more people might be in marketing. You should have hands-on experience in marketing. Okay. This will attract more people. So like, you might be very, very good at SEO. You will have a very, very high like acceptance rate in many companies. Okay. Versus a guy who has knowledge of SEO but they do not have hands-on. So that is the one of the most important things. And you should also highlight that I have hands-on experience. I have built this website, and this is what it does, or this is the impact. So when, as a recruiter, suppose you are a recruiter, who will you recruit? You want to build a company, and you want people who, like the smartest people out there, so that you can tell them, see, I want to go from 1 million users to 10 million users. Can you do that? They will say yes. And then you will, like, onboard them. You will not micromanage people, right? So this is how you, like, have to show your profile. Skills is what you have to show, and how you have developed the skills, where you have applied the skills, and what you can do for that company. That is one most important aspect, and you should focus on that. Yes.
That leads into an interesting question for the audience, because you know, as you just said, it's important to show off your skills and the skills that you actually have,
Mm.
but the skills need to be relevant to the particular customer particular job that you're applying for, the company and the position that you're applying for. So here's a question for the audience: do you customize your resume for every job that you apply to? Give people about 30 seconds to respond to that.
Very interesting question. Let's see what people say about this.
And I think since it's a simple question, I'm just going to close off the poll in about another 5 seconds here. And 21% of the people said no. So about 80% of the people said they do always or sometimes.
So I
And
bet that this yes, the 38%, most of them will be MBAs. So this is a common practice with business grads to do that, customize for each of them. So this is how you put some extra effort in your CV and your resume and make it. And suppose you are like putting a resume for a finance job, so you will highlight your financial skills. Versus you put up resume for a marketing job, you will highlight your marketing skills. But as you get experience, you will have like so like you will have maybe two skills, like one is marketing and one is maybe BD, or maybe you will be having marketing in different aspects, like one is content marketing, maybe one is SEO, or maybe in product marketing, or kind of content marketing. So this is basically how they highlight it. So it's not very difficult to do that, but yes, you can do that, because some certain companies look for very, very particular sets to be in candidate. So that is why people do that. So there is no harm in doing that, but yes, you have to justify it also when asked about this kind of what you have done to that, and your proficiency levels will be justified.
so you're
Yeah.
basically saying that um, it's not necessarily the best practice to do the um, customization of the resume to each role. Is that,
No,
am I
it's not
understanding you
best
correct?
practice. It's basically done. Why? Because see, uh, some people do multiple things. Like in a company, they wear multiple hats. So they might also have, like, they have done sales. Also, after doing sales, they have gone to maybe operations. After doing operations, they have learned about the product and they have gone to
Right.
product operations of product. So they can use this kind of experience because they have, like, uh, various experience sets, like 2 years of this, 2 years of that, and 3 years of that. And now they want to go back. Okay, so I have 6 years experience. I want to go back into sales. So they will make a resume which is more inclined towards sales versus product. This
Right.
is how they do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, so in terms of how the company sees you, um,
Mhm.
and working with Instahire, which creates a persona within your system for the candidate,
Mhm.
um, is the resume become less important after the candidate has inputted into the Instahire system?
Mhm.
In terms of, now that all the information's in there, I don't need this one-page document anymore? Or is that still a tool that they're going to need going forward to present when they're interviewing?
So when the candidate comes onto Instahire and then the first, so before that, let me like bifurcate the steps. Okay. So the first steps, the screening steps, which are uh, there are different companies who follow this, but there is a general pattern is they will see the candidate and they might do a small phone call with them to understand the aspirations and what the company is doing and see if the candidate is interested or not. And they will judge wholly by the resume because they do not have any facts. Okay, they might have facts that yes, this candidate has done this and then some things might be highlighted, but they will read the resume, understand that this candidate, okay, this is relevant for me as it is shown on my dashboard, my Instahire dashboard, and they will start following up this candidate. Secondly, when the candidate goes through, the second part is the screening part. Okay. The screening part is this when you send assignments. So now this assignment sending is done by the team which is hiring, not the recruiter. So I'm hiring for a software engineer role for my Java team versus the Python team. So the Java team will send the assignment. When the assignment comes in and they will assess the assignment, the ones who have cleared the assignment will be given interviews. They will be having like interview one, two, three, like the live round, and then there will be another round with the manager, and then there will be another round with the final offer. So this is the screening stage. In all these stages, the first and the last stages are the ones who are most important for the resume. So they will be seeking their resume and they will be asking direct questions. So suppose you have done a project, what was the project about? What was the problem you are solving? So candidates should be very, very careful about how they define that project in the resume. If you have told that you have like implemented suppose a full project, okay, suppose you have implemented everything end to end, you should know the problems which came in, suppose in the seventh day or the 10th day, and how did you solve it? Because the other side might know, because he or she might have implemented the problem, right? So you should know end to end of everything which you have done, and it's very, very important to know the impact of that. Okay, we have seen candidates and we have done various polls and companies also. Companies tell us that this guy has skills, but the project that he or she has done, they were not aware what is the impact on the company. So you should have a little bit of a business sense to understand what is the impact of your work so that you can project yourself better. And you should always project yourself that I am a valuable addition to your team.
Yeah. We did an interesting webinar uh,
Okay.
about a week and a half ago, um,
Mm-hmm.
which looked at problem solving in business.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the principles that the speaker introduced was there are three functions in a business, three types of functions in a business. One is the function are functions that create value, the value added functions that produce the value that customers pay for. Then there are necessary support functions. So essential support doesn't create value necessarily. It's like the accounting department in a company. You have to have it, but it isn't directly creating value. The third function type of function in the company is what's called waste, because these are things that companies do that cost them money. People get paid to do them,
Mhm.
and hours are expended, but they don't actually produce anything for the company, just a cost. And so the purpose of that webinar was to address, how do you solve problems that eliminate the waste? But
Mhm.
for the purpose of today's discussion, what you just said about showing yourself as a valuable employee is that you want to make sure that people perceive your experience shows that you're either a value added person or
Mhm.
you're a very, very effective person in an essential support function. So
Yes.
the
And
one thing you don't want to do is be seen as, well, okay, that's interesting, but it didn't create any value for the company. So
yes,
why were you there?
exactly.
So,
So one of the fun, like what has changed in the recruitment segment is companies are going remote. Okay, so because of this pandemic, they're going remote. And the biggest advantage of remote is you are exposed to a lot many geographies that you were before. So I was hiring, suppose I'm based out of Delhi, and I will hire for people only from Delhi region who can work in my office. But right now, if I'm remote, I can hire from all parts of India or even abroad. So what it does, it basically creates a lot of more avenues for me to hire a candidate. So their competition has gone up. Even the jobs have been open to other candidates in other segments. Secondly, what we have seen that companies when they grow and when like, people grow like they grow 4x, 5x in a year, okay, and they double every 3 months, 4 months. So what they need is people who are self motivated. So that is the most important skill which we have seen in companies. Like they assess the skill for cultural fit. Cultural fit doesn't mean that if this guy is like will fit our company or not. The cultural fit is actually what means is if suppose a company is there and it has an energy pool. Suppose I have an energy and the other people have an energy pool. So suppose it is like 100. My energy pool is I have 100 people, everyone has one. Okay. Now, if I include a person who is double that energy, like two, so everyone, the cumulative energy pool increases. So level of motivation increases. People will follow this kind of motivation. It's very infectious, and people will also try to make up. Like they will just make targets and goals which are more audacious than the before this guy has joined or before this bunch of guys have joined versus there is another set of people who are energy sappers, which I mean like the sink. So they will reduce the energy of the crew that will demotivate a lot of people and then they might leave your organization because of this thing. People always look for people who can increase the overall energy of that group. That is the most important skill which we have. Why? Because people are stuck at their homes. Most of them are working remotely or they are doing hybrid work. So they need people who can give them, okay, so what new we can do today? Okay. And they are looking forward so that the human interaction is minimal. So there should be motivation in the team, the high energy in the team, so that everyone gets lifted up. That is one most important skill which we have seen during this pandemic come up as basically to increase the energy, overall energy of the group or the team.
yeah, and that makes sense in the sense that people tend to look around them and see what the norm, what the culture says, what the norms say for behavior. If they see
Mhm.
people around them who are, as you say, low energy, low interest, low
Mhm.
motivation, they get the idea that that's the way that they should behave.
Exactly.
Where when you see people around you who are striving, working hard, setting higher goals,
Mhm.
um, you get this sense of healthy competition
Mhm.
that you want to be like them and you don't want to be left behind by them. So
Exactly.
that's
Mhm.
really, as you say, a very important quality. Speaking of motivation, let's take another quick poll here,
Mhm.
and let's see if I can current slide. Um, I'll share this.
Mhm.
Oops, I don't want to do that. and we're looking at what is the motivation that drives somebody to look for a new job in today's environment. Not necessarily that you're all in the audience looking for a new job today, but if you're looking for a new job, or if you were considering that, in today's environment, in the world we live in right now, which factors are the most important? And I think we've set this up so that you have to pick one. And so let's see if we can find the result here. And it's a fairly even distribution, but better learning opportunities are the main motivator, which is, you know, it's not surprising for anybody who's, I think, involved in recruitment, hiring, even education, like the people here at Simplilearn. I think the popular idea is that, well, people want to find a better title or they want to find a bigger salary, but curiosity and the need to, learn more and improve, become a better expert in your field is always a really important factor. Have you found that to be true?
We have seen this kind of, we have done certain surveys and polls we have run through, and we have talked like with companies like Amazon, Walmart, and Deliveroo, and like largest companies in the world, which are the recruiting from our platform, Insta. So at Instahire, we have seen this poll going through. Like, do you need specialists or do you need people which have what we call right nowadays like the T personality? What is the T personality is? It's like T, which is the alphabet T. Is this guy might have 3 to 4 skills, okay, and this guy will have ample knowledge of 3 to 4 skills, but in one of the skills or in couple of skills, this guy will be very deep. Okay, so what it does is you can assign this person multiple jobs, okay, and in they will understand this kind of job, okay, all these jobs, but they might not be very good at it, but they will understand and they might do the job. But if you promote them, like if you make them a manager, suppose suppose you have a manager who has like very good sales skills, but this guy is also very good in support, customer support. Now, and this guy may be also very good in legal matters. Okay, like legal agreements and all this, like signing up of agreements and like vetting legal documents. Okay, so these 3 skills are there. This guy is very good in sales, so he will definitely do sales. But if the sales guy and the other guy is coming, he like help me with the legal matter also. This guy can help. Even if someone comes with like this is the problem with the support, this guy can also help. And if you this kind of segment of people, they are getting promoted very fast. Because if I promote this kind of person, this guy will actually lead a team of sales, but this guy has a very good idea of the support systems which work.
Yeah.
And they can also help how sales can help the support, how sales can ease the legal processes also. So I have a person who can actually contribute in 3 departments. The first department, the sales department, is very good, but the other 2 departments also is support. Okay. So this is the T personality which is getting a lot of traction in today's world. And it's not like I am only good at this, I will do that. But if you see, like if like most of the guys here might have read the book How Google Works. Okay. So in this very interesting example is there. So one day the founder of Google was searching something on Google, well, like 10-15 years back. After a search, when he did a search and then there were irrelevant results coming in. Okay, and he was very annoyed. What he did is basically he did not ask the search team. He just took a printout and he marked the search results in red, and he told that this sucks, and he put it on the kitchen which they have the refrigerator in the kitchen. Now, two, three engineers came in that evening, Friday, to have some coffee, and they saw the results. Okay, they saw the results and this such, and they went through it, and everyone went home. This was weekend. Everyone went home Friday. Monday morning, the founder receives an email that this is the problem which we had, this is the solution which we did, and this is how we could have solved it. So this marked the entry of Google search, which was like very advanced compared like 3 days back. And this guy, most of the people who are in the technology field might know, this guy's name is Jeff D, who is also one of the very proficient computer engineers, and he was the guy who was not into the search team. Okay, he was working on something else, but he took the problem and he solved it. So one thing which we have seen that people can contribute to other problems into a company, and when people like your boss or your manager sees that, okay, that you can take up a problem and solve it, and you are also concerned about other problems, that means you are concerned about the company to grow. Okay, that means that you are very motivated person which wants to have a growth in the company plus wants to grow with the company as the company grows. Okay, so Jeff Dean might have just ignored the thing and had his coffee and went back. Okay, but he did not. He worked over the weekend. These two, three guys of his team worked for the weekend. That was not their project at all. They were not thinking about appraisal or getting a hike or whatever, getting promoted. They are only working so that the company doesn't face this kind of problem. So this is what I was talking about. It's about learning opportunities. Better learning opportunities can present itself anywhere.
Yeah, and it's an interesting other aspect of the T-shaped
Yes.
worker is that even if you're not doing a cross contribution, as an example that you gave from Google,
Mhm.
if you understand how the other functions in
Mhm.
your company work,
Mhm.
then when it's your time to ask them for help,
Mhm.
or when it's their time to ask you for help, you will understand how to talk to them and how to provide them the help or the information that they need, or
Exactly.
to ask them for the information you need in a way
Mhm.
that they'll be able to um, understand better and work better with you. So it
Exactly.
it uh, it streamlines things within a company when people have that kind of cross functional understanding. So it's a very useful thing. What was the name of the book that you mentioned, just so I can put that in the
How
chat?
Google works. How Google works.
How Google works?
That's how Google works. There are other certain examples also when you read through companies, how they have solved problems and the problem solving skills which were like showcased in the people, like in the team members, were very extraordinary. Because certain the companies which had made it big, there were very simple problems which they solved, and they gave rise to very large. Let's say very simple is like the founder mentality that we say. As entrepreneurs, we want to see the founder mentality in my team members. Okay, whoever team member is in my team, they should lead the department as it is their own company. It's kind of a micro company inside a company, and it comes from the founder mentality. If you have read books of kind of how Airbnb has like scale and how they have started, very interesting is the founder mentality is doing everything on their own till you have a technology to scale it up. So, in simple terms, you have heard of the line, like do things that do not scale, right? A very clear example is Airbnb. When they started off, they wanted to have the listings on their website, and the listings had very grainy photographs. Okay, so they took from the mobile phones. At that point of time, the mobile phones were not that good.
Right.
What did they do? It drove away visitors. They do not want to visit a home which has a grainy photograph. Even if you are booking a hotel, you want to have a very good view. So it's like 360-degree view or a very high definition photograph, so they can see how the bed looks, how the windows look. Like so, the founders they found this problem, and they took a camera on lease, They went out into the neighborhood, started clicking pictures with the permission of the owners, and they saw the traffic come back to their website. And when they did that, they hired like a photography firm to do the photography. So this is how they scale. So this is the founder mentality. When we see that in a company, and it's very, very visible, like in people who are applying for your job, with the founder mentality is basically how sincere is the candidate in doing the assignments. Have they done the assignments in full? Have they asked very relevant questions? What is the quality of the assignment? The quality of the assignment or the quality of the portfolio speaks volumes about a candidate. So always do the assignment if you're looking for a company to join, and this is a dream company. Always do assignments with everything what you have. Like ask pertinent questions, they are ready to give you the answers. But you should do the assignment to the best of your knowledge.
Yeah, because you're basically, it's an audition. It's the type of
Yes.
thing where if they don't see you do your best work at that point, they're not going to see it later. I'm
Yes.
going to run one more poll before we go to questions and answers, because this poll, I think it addresses the frustration some people might have.
Mhm.
And open it up here while I share application. And what we're looking at is, what aspect of job hunting is the most challenging for you? Is it finding the job openings? Is it adjusting to the world of online interviews instead of face-to-face?
Mhm.
Is it writing the resume? Or are you one of the fortunate people whose main problem is, I get the offers, but I want to be able to negotiate better terms? And we'll close the poll and share the results. Finding relevant job opportunities. And the second most popular was the resume. So,
Yes.
how to, um, final segment, how does Instahire help candidates uh, resolve these frustrations?
So the first major problem which you have asked is like finding relevant job opportunities. Finding relevant job opportunities, the candidates like they will want to apply to all the jobs, but they have to have selection of certain jobs which are relevant for them. But how will you find relevant jobs? You cannot go to each and every job postings, like 10,000 job postings, and then apply to each of them which are relevant. But if you have a technology which can suggest you, say, 20 jobs, where you will get maybe a sure for interview, or maybe a assignment round, or maybe get a call from the recruiter, that will be very good for you, right? So this is where we come in. We understand the candidate over, like, on top of, like, not only the resume, okay, but also the preferences. This guy wants to work in a startup. This guy has a very good contribution over GitHub or any other tools which they use. Very good Behance profile. So he's a very good designer. Okay. So all these things come into play. This is the salary which they have got in the last job, and this is the career progression which they have got. This is the type of companies which the guy has worked for. These all combined together, we build a personality, a persona of a candidate. That helps us to give them a suggestion of the relevant job openings which are there, and they can also apply to other job openings where we give them a cumulative score on basis of past data. We crunch millions of data points. When we tell the candidate, okay, you have a 99% chance of getting a job interview with this company, or you have a 10% chance of getting a job interview, because this company might not be interested in taking your interview or taking you to the next level. Better you apply to this set of companies where you have a 90% chances. So this suggestion is not available in traditional portals, where people come in and they just do like 10 just apply, select all and apply, and they do not get a relevant callback. Because on the other hand, also you have to understand the recruiter is also a human, so they will get like 1 lakh emails in their inbox, and then they will be like they will not process it. They will go for referrals or any easy way out. That is how they operate.
Let's move on to our questions and answers. And got a question here from Vinay, who says, I have 16 and more years of experience in different domains. In the last year, I've been doing business. Right now, if I did a data science and AI course, would that help me get a job?
So that depends. Like if you have done business, what is this like profile which you have been in the last 16 years? Okay, and if you want to do a change in profile, why now? Okay, that will be the question which will be answered. Like it will be asked by any recruiter which you move into. And doing a data science course obviously will help. Okay, but you have to have the passion for data science also. Okay, it's not that you do a course and people will comment for job offers, but you have to have a passion like for Python or for coding or for to understand data. So this also will be evaluated when you are getting into a job interview. When you get a job interview, the courses will take a backseat, but you will have to prove your skills and your knowledge also on the different aspects of the job. So if you are applying for data engineer job or a data science like engineer job, you have to show that you are passionate about data science and you have solved problems and you're ready to solve problems and you're ready to take that leap. So that is one thing which courses are many, so I don't want to comment on courses, but like, Simplilearn has also put, like a lot of courses in data science.
Okay. We have a question from Jesus who asks, how much are ATS applicant tracking systems a barrier?
Yeah.
Are they something where you just load in the keywords to get seen and it doesn't really get you to the relevant job, or is what are the drawbacks for those types of things, and how would you differentiate Instahire from that?
So ATS is a application tracking system. It's like they load the candidate profiles there and they go for further rounds of interviews throughout. So this is the application tracking system used for. But the thing is like ATS doesn't have that technology which can identify a candidate who is active, who is very relevant versus the other candidate who might not be active, might not be relevant, or might be not at all relevant for the job. Okay, so there Instahire comes in to show that, okay, if you're hiring for this role, check out this like 500 candidates who are actively looking out for a change, who are relevant for the job postings, who are also looking to like work in similar problems, and they have worked in similar problems. We have seen them contributing in certain similar problems before in their career, and this is the candidate we should look for. ATS is basically is that they do not have the technology to segregate. So segregating the active and the best candidates is not done by the ATS. So that is the problem where it's like a black hole. Like if you put a candidate into an ATS or resume into an ATS, it stays there till it has been removed. So that is how. So there is nothing like these are active candidates. Like I have say 1 million in my ATS, but I do not know like out of that 100,000 candidates might be active. I will never know. So that is how ATS is.
Question from Abhyanshu, who asks, what should a fresher do to get hired?
So it depends on what kind of skills do you have. For freshers, I think you should always experience a company when it is being formed or in the formative ages, okay, versus the enterprise. Because if you enter into a company which is like it will be your personal choice, obviously, but we have seen that people when they enter into this kind of a phase where the company is growing and you go with them, you tend to learn a lot of things fast. Okay, And generally it helps after 3-4 years of experience. It will definitely help you in your career, and it will help you in getting a better job or a better profile and whatever. So it might be that I'm doing a lot of effort versus my friends at companies who are not doing anything, and like who is doing less work. But yes, believe me, this is worth it, and you will learn a lot of skills. You will learn a lot of things which they might not see, because you will do everything by your own hand. It's basically hands-on experience, which is very, very rare, very, very costly in the real world, and you get that. So as a fresher, you should always go for learning opportunities and not think about basically the amount of work or salaries or anything.
Um, I have a question that asks, does Instahire give advice to its candidates on what skills gaps they might have and what things they should be studying to improve their chances of getting hired?
Yes, we have a recommendation engine which is going live in 1 month. So we have been fine tuning the recommendation engine. So right now the recommendation engine will give you according to your skills, what are the jobs you should apply for. Okay. And according to your skill or your knowledge, what are the jobs you are highly to get, and like high, very high chances of getting an interview or a job offer. So then we will also have a recommendation engine to like tell them that this is the skill gap which we have seen, and you can upgrade on this certain skills of the on Python, on Golang, or on sales, or on content. So we will give you that kind of recommendations which we are developing. So that takes a lot of millions of data points to come into and then suggest you the best kind of skills. So that is what we are doing.
We have just time for a few more questions, so I apologize to everybody because we've actually gotten dozens and dozens of questions and don't have time to be able to address all of them. So again, apologize in advance. But here's an interesting question from Harika, who asks, I have a career gap right after graduation because of my children.
Mhm.
And she's studying full stack Java development. What do you think her chances are of being recruited?
So the career gaps shouldn't matter. Okay, if you have a reason why you have taken the career gap, and this is a very genuine reason, and it shouldn't matter. There's nothing to worry about on this, because yeah. So people ask me a lot of questions about career gaps, and it's like career gap. Like I have taken a sabbatical, I have went through, I have been traveling, or I have been exploring. That is not a problem. Why? Because you you cannot learn everything in a job, sitting in a cubicle, working for clients or working for yourself. You should go out sometime and see the world, how it operates. All the large companies that you see has been found by people who have gone out, seen the world, interacting with thousands of people, found out the problem and tried to solve it. So if you're not going out, you cannot see fresh problems coming in. You cannot see like if you haven't gone out, you might not see what how's the grocery market operating. So you might not build a platform where you can say give the best rates for groceries in your locality or in other locality, because you do not know what how does it operate, how is the pricing fixed, okay, how people bargain, how people buy. So you will never get to know that. Yeah. So you will always be confined in certain sets, which is not true. You should take like if you have taken sabbatical, you should come up with an answer to yes, I've taken a sabbatical, I've traveled the world, I've found out things. Even you see that a company in India which was acquired by Baidu, a white hat junior, the person has taken a sabbatical. Has taken a sabbatical, went traveled the world, came back, built white hat junior, and it got acquired by 500, like $350 million, right? Made him a millionaire. So like if people are doing it successfully, there I think will not be an issue to get a job for that. Like if I have a career break, or and this is a valid career break, so it is mandatory for many organizations to give a maternity leave or paternity leave. So that is not a problem, I think. To solve for them.
Let's see. Okay. We'll do just a couple more. Jivan asks if one is experienced in a particular domain or stream and wants to switch into a different one, for example, AI and data science, would that person have to start at the bottom with the entry-level roles in that new field, or would their experience in other fields count for something?
So there we have to see the overlapping experience. Okay, if there is anything overlapping with your previous experience, if there is nothing overlapping, you have to start afresh because the other guy who is hiring you or recruiting you is taking a better. So basically, you have to give the benefit of doubt that I can perform and I am capable and I can do that. So you have to always start from the bottom. It's not like starting from the bottom. You have to learn everything bottom up because when you will be a manager or you will be a VP or you will be the head, you have to teach your juniors how to do that from 0 to 1. So you have to know 0 to 1. You cannot go from 1 to 10 and you do not know 0 to 1. So that is the basic which we need to be very, very aware of.
And I've also found that sometimes what counts from your other experience is domain knowledge in terms of if you have been working in, let us say, the banking industry for a long time, you know the industry very well,
Yes.
and now you want to switch your skill sets within the same industry.
Mhm.
Your knowledge of the domain will help you advance faster, but you still have to prove that your new skill set is valid.
Yes.
We have a question from a YouTube viewer, Mayana, who asks, what main point or main thing does a recruiter see in a resume other than the key skills that will
So
attract the interest of a hiring company?
the main thing the recruiter will want to see is basically how your previous experiences have been and what have you achieved in the previous experiences. If I am building a e-commerce platform and I am a recruiter or I am a founder, I am hiring for my team and I want to build a very good UI for my app, e-commerce app. I will always find a person who has built very good apps with very good UIs, right? So this is basically I will see what past experience you have, and skills will not be such like if you have skills, yes, it's very good. If you do not have skills, but you know how to do that, maybe you have aptitude, so that I will hire you. Okay, and expect you to use their aptitude to learn more skills and be better at your job. Or else, I will see people who have proven experience, who has proven themselves. So if I'm hiring a senior, I'm hiring a VP of sales. Okay, I will have people who have done $1 million deals in the last company because I want to do $1 million deal in my company. I won't hire a person who has done $10,000 deals because they will know 10,000 to say $50,000 deal, but they will not know the ropes of doing a $1 to $10 million deals. But I want to do that. I will hire that kind of person. So that is the same temperament of a recruiter. They will see that what is the guy has been doing for the last 3 4 years or whatever it is.
Yeah. It's not just the skills, but how you've been applying them. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And the last question, again, I apologize to everyone whose questions we were not able to take. But the last question is from Rico, and we'll exit on this one, which is, what changes in recruiting do you expect to see in the coming future?
So a lot of changes are being consistently being done in the recruitment stage. So a lot of emphasis on assignments, a lot of emphasis on the uh, how the candidate will gel in because maybe the onboarding might be remote, the person might be working remotely. Okay, accountability, how you test accountability. Okay, cultural fit is very very important right now because people when they build companies, they are always into culture. The first thing which they build is culture, and this culture helps into the learning abilities of a candidate when they join in. Suppose I build a very motivating culture, we will be motivated to learn new skills and apply so that the company goes further. Companies go from 1 to 100. So this is the first thing which they see. Secondly, the use of tools have increased. More and more technology has been introduced into the recruitment space. The hiring trends will be mostly remote hire or hybrid kind of a workspaces will be there. And in doing the remote hire, the major problem is engagement, candidate engagement. So this candidate engagement will take a very steep turnaround. So before that, you came into office, you had birthday parties, you had all this stuff, and you met your teams and did handshakes and had beer parties. Now you don't have that, right? So this is the engagement. So this is the recruitment trend which is going in. Companies will invest more in employer branding. Uh, they will invest more in candidate better experience. Okay, and onboarding and also perks will go up. So yes, motivating and all the skills will be one of the major factors where companies will look into candidates.
Excellent. So before we end the webinar, I'm going to ask one question, one more question of the audience, which is,
Mhm.
we you talked about the T-shaped
Mhm.
employee, the person who has broad skills as well as deep skills in a particular area. And so I'm asking, what areas are each of you out there most interested in learning, either to deepen your skills in a particular area or to broaden them to multiple areas? And when do you think you'd want to start doing
Mhm.
that? And I noticed we've got a number of questions about data science and AI and machine learning. So that seems to be a popular area of study, but again, broadening is an important factor. So let me see what the poll results tell us. So business and project management and data science are the two top categories that people are interested in. And about a third of you are interested in doing that right away. So commend you on that. That's now is always a good time to start. And with that, I'm going to thank Sarbojit. I'm putting up his LinkedIn connection information for people who want to follow up. But I do want to thank you for being here today and sharing your insights with us and being so generous with your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. Thank
Okay.
you, Simplilearn, for calling me. Take care. Have fun. Be safe. Thank you, guys.
Okay. And I'm going to make a couple of last announcements. We have been dropping in the chat window information about the Skill Up program from Simplilearn, which is a free program. And it allows you to do the self-study parts of our education programs, training programs, through video content, over 1,000 hours of video content, actually over 600 skills now. And you will, on completing each of the self-study courses, you do actually receive a certificate of completion that shows that you've undertaken that. So find out more about that by clicking the link that I've just put into the chat. And the next thing is, for those of you interested in digital marketing, or for those of you who have friends interested in digital marketing, we are doing a digital marketing masterclass as our next webinar. That will be 1 week from today, and it will be looking at what goes on in the Google black box. Google is very jealous about the privacy of its proprietary algorithms and methods. So this will give you a little bit of insight from outside looking in on what happens in the Google black box. Brad Geddes, our PPC chair at Simplilearn, pay-per-click digital advertising, is the expert who will present that. And again, I've dropped the link into the chat, so you'll be able to register for that class. And that concludes the webinar. Please keep in touch with us at our social media handles at Simplilearn on Facebook, Twitter. Look for Simplilearn on LinkedIn. And we look forward to seeing you at future Simplilearn webinars. Thank you all for being here. And thank you for sticking with us.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye, Arbojit. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. Take care.
Bye-bye.